This is Stewie, and his job is to catch snakes.
24 hours, 7 days a week, on call, and we just go from house to house as people require us, removing venomous snakes from people's houses, backyards, businesses, vehicles, you name it, we've probably caught it.
Yesterday, Stewie's business went from catching coils to complete calamity. An Optus customer, his business phones were all out of action.
Didn't receive any calls, couldn't make any outgoing calls, because I couldn't even access my phone maps to get from one job to another for people that were actually messaging the Facebook page.
He believes he lost up to $2,000 in business because he couldn't be contacted.
We might be right with him, this bloke, because we got him and he's still alive and he's still alert.
But a bigger concern, his customers were having to contend with venomous creatures on their own.
Some people had to kill the snakes, other people left the house and they didn't want to go back to their house, until somebody went to check to see if the snake was still there.
It is a serious snake.
If they were bitten by that snake, they've only got 20 minutes, half an hour max to get to a hospital before, they start to deteriorate. And if they couldn't contact 000, we could have had quite a few deaths on our hands.
Sammy J with you. We started this morning at 5:30 to discover that all the trains were not running. It's as a result of this nationwide Optus outage, which is...
Optus's nightmare day began in the early hours of yesterday morning, as 10 million customers woke to no phone or internet coverage.
In today's environment, it's unthinkable that an entire telco could go offline.
It's certainly one of the biggest I've ever seen.
Optus is yet to reveal the cause of the early morning blackout, but experts believe it was a combination of human error and a precariously built system.
It's on the software, the computer side of the business, and these are all interconnected. So if you get a fault, and it's a serious one, and it looks like that this was a serious one, then it cascades through all these computer systems, and one by one, they're shutting off.
The implications of the outage were felt across Australia. Melbourne's train network came to a halt, hospital phone systems fell quiet, 000 calls from some Optus phones weren't going through, and the Australian Communications and Media Authority is now investigating.
This is a legislated requirement that Optus has failed to achieve yesterday. And it's a critical requirement. It's a matter of life and death.
It is concerning to see that landline calls from Optus to the 000 service were not getting through.
The Optus outage lasted over 9 hours.
Unfortunately, it does happen. It happens to telcos all around the world. It happens to other telcos in Australia. We try and avoid it happening, and we will make sure we learn as much as we possibly can from what occurred.
You wouldn't expect the large telcos in Europe or America or in any other country to have been out for that long.
Today people are asking how this could have happened and could it happen again? Well, telecommunications experts have come to the sobering conclusion that it could and probably will, unless Optus and Telstra both improve their systems.
The telcos, like all technology companies, want to minimise their engineering spend. They're trying to maximise their profit and they're trading off the possibility that there will be outages or failures, in their efforts to make a larger profit.
We had a problem with Telstra in May this year. Of course, we had the big hack from Optus September last year. And as I mentioned, we've had similar sort of, not at this scale, but similar sort of outages that lasted for half a day. It's not just Optus, it's Telstra, it's Vodafone.
In particular, if you're on the Optus network.
Telecommunications expert Mark Gregory believes that both major telcos, which are relied upon by 400 other mobile and internet providers, have not built in proper fail-safes to their systems. So if one thing goes wrong, a backup system can keep things online.
We don't have the reliability and redundancy that many of us would expect our technology companies to have.
You cannot have a single point of fail.
And telco analyst Paul Badair believes a lack of legislation and regulation has allowed the companies to operate systems without redundancies that can prevent extended outages.
It all goes back to when Telstra was privatised, back in the 1990s. At that point in time, people like myself and others argued that now was the time to come up with some good regulations. It was not just another company like another chocolate factory. No, this is integral to our society, to our economy, and that was not recognized when Telstra was privatized, and that situation has continued till now.
Telstra told 7:30 it was committed to investing more to improve its coverage capacity and resilience, while Optus has said it does have multiple redundancies and fallback. Today, it offered its customers 200 gigabytes of free data. Investigations into the specific cause of the Optus outage is ongoing. The federal government wants answers and has announced a review into the saga.
It's important, I believe, to have a post-incident review that is both thorough in scope but also is completed expeditiously.
We need to identify what went wrong, and we know that it was more than just a human error or an infrastructure error. What we know is that it was a decision made by the company in the way that their network is designed and built.
Optus has ruled out compensation for businesses affected by yesterday's blackout, but the outage may just come back to bite them, with at least 2 state governments, businesses and a snake catcher threatening to make a switch.
I've been with Optus since 1996 and I'm just about ready to jump ship to another provider.